Have you ever thought about the difference between Intel and AMD processors? Hi friends, today I will show you a full comparison between the two companies specialized in the manufacture of processors, AMD and Intel. So, first we will talk about gaming. A lot of gamers ask about the good CPU company. I will give you the answer. Games are the most consumer of CPU because the latest games need the highest CPU performance, and when I say performance, I mean graphic, calculating speed, overclocking, etc. With Intel CPU, we see good performance with games as GTA V. Generally, we know that all gamers use external GPU because the Intel CPU include on the integrated graphics, but the performance isn't up to par with discrete graphic cards. But AMD CPU doesn't support integrated graphic. Instead, AMD combines its processor cores and its Radeon branded graphics core into one package chip called an accelerated processing unit or APU. All of those bent to offer better performance than Intel's on the graphics, but it doesn't give performance like external GPU. But the disruptive element on CPU industry is the Ryzen CPU of AMD, which contain an external GPU with good performance. This model contains a lot of threads. This is the idea that saved Intel from the beast. We know that it's a good improvement for AMD, but the latest games generally use 2 or maximally 4 threads, so the number of threads is not important on games, but it's just make the CPU expensive. Every one of you can ask me which one is fast. Generally, Intel CPU are much faster than AMD CPU, but there is exceptions. In general use, Intel CPU win, but when an application or game that takes full advantage of all the available cores is used, Ryzen can be much faster because we said that AMD company make more cores than Intel company. Third, we have power consumption. Generally, people said that AMD processors consume more power. That's true. For example, Intel CPU 4770K on stock mode use 176 watt, and on overclocking mode use 251 watt. But the AMD 8315 on stock mode use 213 watt, and on overclocking mode use 328 watt. The difference is apparent. Another kind of people ask the question, does CPU consume power differently while executing instructions and while being idle? Of course yes, because on executing instructions the CPU uses all pieces in it. So more use, more power, and more paid money. So, which one gets hotter? AMD CPUs have lower safe temperature than Intel because it's use more power than Intel's CPU. So, that can cause the slow death to AMD CPU. That's why AMD company advises its customers to use good coolers for no damage, especially the gamers. Which CPU is cheaper with good specifications? If we compare the number of cores, the AMD CPU is cheaper than Intel CPU. And also, Intel CPU need professional motherboard, reverse AMD processors. The important idea in this video is which one is better. This is about the person who will use the computer and the nature of its work. That determines the type of processors used. If the purpose of using the computer is to play games, graphics, and software, but with less use, you can choose an AMD processor. And if your use of the computer is normal use, you can choose one without bothering. If the purpose of the computer is to play games and many programs and graphics and to get better performance and smooth use of machine, it's better to choose an Intel processor, taking into account the advantage of heat that is less. The choice remains for you, friends.